Hello, Reds, and welcome to the 100% United podcast. We have another pre-season win under our belts, youngsters shining again, Nicky Butt has been promoted, and we've got loads more transfer rumours for you too. I'm your host, TC. I'm joined again by my co-host, Scott. Hello, mate.
Hello, pal.
Don't worry, I'm not going to make you sing today, pal.
Oh, thank God for that. Yeah.
Let's start with that 1-0 win over Inter Milan, mate. Mason Greenwood, 2-2, super finish, and more positive signs from him, Scott. He's an absolute gem, right?
He really is. I'm not sure if the comparisons to him and RVP are quite justified yet, but it's really great to see some homegrown talent come up and really deliver on a big stage.
Yes, I have seen those comparisons with Robin Van Persie. His goal was reminiscent of one of Van Persie's, wasn't it? Really send a dummy on one of your feet and then cut right back, almost at right angles, and leave the defender and leave yourself with loads of space.
Yeah, definitely. And funnily enough, the one goal I've seen that they sort of did a second-by-second comparison was that one at home to West Brom. That game we went to, mate. Remember?
Yes, indeed, mate. I do indeed, yes. Yeah. I do.
One of the only games we've actually been to together.
Indeed, pal. Yeah. But many more to come. Don't you worry about that.
For sure.
Many more to come. But look, Mason Greenwood grabbed all the headlines. Just fantastic display all round from the kid. Hit the bar as well. He's looking, as we said, he just needed that goal, didn't he? The first one, the last game, sorry.
He did. I think that when you're coming up from the youth ranks, you know, everything around our club is sort of pointed in the direction of if you're good enough, you're old enough, etc. And I think he just needs to prove to himself and to everyone else around him that he is good enough and then move on in leaps and bounds, mate.
Yeah, he doesn't smile much, does he?
It just seems like a regular day at the office. Nothing really phases him. And I think that's actually a pretty good thing, right?
Yes.
It doesn't get overawed by situations and it's just another regular day for him, pal. What are you worried about?
Yeah, I mean, another one of the United legends of the past, Cristiano Ronaldo, he didn't smile much on the pitch either.
No.
He always had a sort of stern look, although he did smile when he scored. He blooming loved that. But Mason, he doesn't smile, but he's still got a nice manner about him. Yeah. I don't have a problem. It's not like a moodiness like Martial, is it?
Yeah, it's actually the same as Andy Cole as well. He never really smiled very much until...
Yeah.
It was only when we got Dwight York and he was smiling all the bloody time that you're like, wait, hang on a sec. Actually, Andy Cole doesn't smile at all here.
It's true. Once Dwight York came, he couldn't resist it.
Yeah. That's when you could sort of see the side-by-side comparison and see, actually, hang on a minute, I haven't seen Andy Cole's teeth before he scored a goal in about 5 years.
Yes, mate. Yeah, but look, Mason Greenwood, fantastic stuff.
Decent.
Not only as a number 9, but also as a right-wing option too.
Absolutely. And I really think that, you know, similar to with Ole Solskjaer, how he's such a United legend already that it's sort of hard to get on his back. I sort of feel the same way maybe with Mason Greenwood, not to say he's a United legend, but because he's coming through the ranks and because he's done so many great things at lower levels for the club, I think that he might be given a good chance in order to succeed and not be given enormous pressures and enormous expectations on his shoulders. And we can actually sort of just take him as it comes, you know?
Yes. And actually, although we've had a great history of players coming through the ranks at United and making it into the first team, it's very rare. In fact, I mean, we'll try and think of one, but can you think of a number 9 who's come through the ranks and made it properly at United? And we've got Marcus Rashford, who's given it a go. Yeah. But before him, they're few and far between, mate.
You're actually right. I'm sitting here scratching my head, and I wish you wouldn't have said Marcus Rashford because I was about to have the answer for you. But yeah, you're right. I can't really think of many.
No, not many at all, mate. Really, when you think about it. Kiko Makeda for a week. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, mate, when you think about a number 9, logically, you come into the team, you've got to put numbers up as a number 9. Mm-hmm. In another position, you can make mistakes. It's the same with goalkeepers. We don't have goalkeepers come through the ranks either. Mm-hmm. And then the 2 positions that are judged on very few actions in a game. A number 9 will be judged on maybe 3 actions in a game. A keeper the same. And if you make mistakes, which a young player normally does, then it's more stark. Whereas in other positions, wing, you can sort of hide a little bit more, grow into the first team. So it is going to be a harder road for Mason. But if you do post the numbers like Rashford did in his early days, you get that bit of extra time, don't you?
You're absolutely right. I think that you're right. Goalkeepers and forwards sort of instantly judged, right? By the goals that they score and the goals they concede. Whereas you look at players like McTominay or even Darren Fletcher back in the day, that they had a lot of time in order to be able to ingratiate themselves into the squad, you know?
Yeah. I mean, look at Daniel James now. You know, he's buzzing around. He didn't have such a good game against Inter, I didn't think. But he will get way more chances because you go, oh, blooming hell, he's fast. He's taking him on. He's getting crosses into the box. But whereas, you know, as a Mason Greenwood, although he plays wide too, he's got to post the numbers because we expect him to be a number 9 for United.
Yeah, for sure. What I was saying earlier, though, is if we go out and buy Gareth Bale, or if we buy this Pepe winger from Lille, they come in and sort of similar to Sanchez, they're expected to give us instant stats, instant goals, instant assists, instant performances.
Yeah.
Whereas if we slowly blood Mason into the first team, I can't imagine many Reds are going to be on his back saying, well, he only scored 10 goals this season, he's not worth his squad position, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think they'll be given a lot more chance,
Especially when they're talking about 70 million for Pepe. They can stick that where the sun doesn't shine. Really, come on.
Yeah. 70 million is the new 50 million, mate,
Now we thought the support in Australia was pretty decent for the Reds. And then we got to Singapore. Blimey, what a stadium that national stadium is, mate. It's impressive stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. And it was, 95% red?
Oh, and the rest. I mean,
it was as red as Old Trafford on a match day, mate. Couldn't believe it.
Incredible. There was a couple of darker moments that we'll discuss later in the pod. But first of all, really impressive, amazing support from the whole stadium. It was like being in Old Trafford. It was mental.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that we're trying to convince two really important players, really world-class players, Paul Pogba and David De Gea, to stay at the moment. And it's the kind of thing I can imagine them looking around, pre-season friendly. It's not going to get any bigger than that. No club in the world you're going to go to and you're going to receive that sort of support 8,000, 10,000 miles away from home. Just not going to happen.
You're right, mate. And it's looking like De Gea is going to sign on. Matic skippered the side against Inter. But we're hearing now De Gea he's put his name forward for the captaincy. And we are hearing also he's going to sign a 6-year contract. That's great news, really, mate, isn't it? Wonderful. I know we said if people want to leave, they can leave. But look, David De Gea's been here in the Fergie years. He's been here through the dark years. He's one of us. And look, like I said before, people have doubts in life and then they make the right decision.
Yep.
And with David De Gea, if he stays, which is looking like he will, I think it'll be the right decision for him and for us.
For sure. Let's just hope we're getting the David De Gea that we had before all these contract negotiations were going up in the air. And, the last few months of last season, he wasn't the best goalkeeper in the world that he showed to be the previous 5 years. So let's hope we put all this to one side and he can get back to being the real David De Gea,
Yes, I'm gonna sway towards looking at the big body of work rather than a couple of months. He's given us an amazing load of years. He's won the Sir Matt Busby Trophy, Player of the Year at United. 4
or 5 times? Yeah.
More than anyone in history.
Yeah.
And he's dragged us through some games where we were really, really looking like we're going to slide down the table. So, look, and I'm with you, mate. I know you called that David De Gea should be skipper on the last pod. And the more I think about it, I think I was talking nonsense when I said that we should have Mata as a club captain. I've always said having a club captain, on-field captain is a big mess.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking. I just think Mata's a good sort of...
role model.
Yeah, he's a good role model. He's a good sort of statesman, if you like.
Yeah.
But
ambassador.
Yeah, but the logical thing is, pal, David De Gea, he's been our best player. He's won the title with us. He's gone to the heights with us. He's also sampled the lows. He understands what's it like to be a United player. He understands the fans. Maybe make him a bit more vocal and sort of command his box a little bit more maybe as well, which is another sort of side of it.
Yeah, hopefully you're right. I don't think you have to have the captain's armband on to be an influence in the locker room or within the club. It's just a sort of token gesture that shows that the club values you as a really important member of the squad, etc., or the most important member. But I would hope that Juan Mata, Nemanja Matic, Ashley Young would continue to have an influence on and off the field, regardless of whether they have the captain's armband.
Yes. Now let's have a little look at the sort of the standout performances from the game against Inter.
There's only one, mate. I mean, there's not only one, but the standout for me was head and shoulders above anyone else. There's only one man of the match for me, mate. No more of this give 2 or 3 out. There's only one for me.
Who's your man of the match, Scott?
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, mate. No doubt in my mind. might even go as far as to call him the Spider nowadays, mate.
Here we go.
Who knows?
Here we go. God, he's brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah. And I have to say before we move on that the best news about De Gea signing his contract is it gives us the chance to have that beautiful purple goalkeeping kit, mate.
Yeah, he looked great in that, didn't he?
All over it, mate. Anyway, let's move on.
You'll never leave the 90s, will you, pal?
Oh, I can't.
Stuck in the 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you mentioned, God, unbelievable stuff. He looked absolutely great again. He is one of those ones that's going to set the tone. He's going to make the other defenders defend because he sets the example. And the thing is, the crowd react to it. And it's like a carrot for the other defenders. Look, this is how to get the support on side. Blooming make some tackles and make some hard ones.
Yeah, that one in particular that was in the first half that Dalbert, their left wing back, must have had a 10, 15 metre start on him. and was going full pelt. And I mean, Dalbert's, he's a quick player as it is. And Wan-Bissaka, he just caught him up, executed another perfect tackle. No one's still been able to beat him in 3 games. He's got 100% tackle success. He's just got athleticism coming out of his ears, mate, and it's just unbelievable to see. He's already, to me, I know we haven't even played a competitive game, but you can see why we're spending 50 million quid on a defender.
He's having a total laugh with that, giving a 10-metre head start. Absolutely ridiculous stuff, mate.
It was crazy.
And it was cool hearing the Singapore crowd singing Bisaka, Bisaka, Bisaka. I thought that was just a job, didn't you?
Yeah, it was nice to hear them supporting our players,
Fantastic.
For a minute.
Yes, mate. Well, Ashley Young played at left back again. Again, I think he's a better left back than he is right back. I've said it before, I'll say it again. And he is.
Yeah, he's just got more than one dimension on the left.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had the booing of Ashley Young. And now I condemn this strongly. Look, Ashley Young, you may not think he's good enough for United. You may not think he's good enough to skipper United, but he does give 100%.
Yeah.
And I think he sets a good example.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that is not worthy of being booed. We don't boo players at United. Look, it's very, very rare. Look, we've had a few days. I know Giggsy's had some stick back in the early 2000s. I know that. Mm-hmm. We have had our days, but as a fan base, as Old Trafford, the away fans in general, we don't boo our own players when on the field.
No.
And it's not something I want us to start now. And Ashley Young, as far as I'm concerned, is a good servant to the club, and he doesn't deserve that.
Absolutely not. We're talking 10 minutes ago about David De Gea. He's been there with Fergie. He's won the league. Mm-hmm. I mean, they came in the same summer, right? They've been there the same amount of time. He's as Manchester United a player as there is these days, right? In terms of he's been there as long as he... And I don't know, it seems like, not just this day and age, but just in our history, we're more interested in criticising people than we are praising them. The reason an inside joke at the end of every podcast, I say "Torah," comes from that flag that guy printed up saying all the excuses, all the, been rubbish football, or whatever it was.
Still the same after 3 years.
Torah Fergie.
Fergie.
And that was Fergie. They wanted him to go.
Yep.
So I to be honest, mate, nothing's changed in 30 years since that fella made that sign. It's just sad, isn't it? Because for 1 minute you're sitting here saying there's 90,000 people going absolutely bananas for United, and then you hear them booing. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you're right that there is some silliness that goes on. It's like people who say, "Oh, I'm sick of that bloody song, that Ole's at the wheel song. I've been singing it all day today." But they say, "Oh, I'm blooming sick of it." Let's just get behind him. He's a bloody legend.
Yeah.
And the truth is that we went mad with that song because we've been blooming in the gutter for a good number of years, and we finally had a bit of excitement. Mm-hmm. And Ole doesn't have any balls because he won't stand up to Woodward. We don't know what he's doing behind closed doors, but we do know Ole loves the club. We do know Ole's won us the European Cup. And we do know Ole is pretty much in the good books of all the United legends that are attached to the club. So he must be doing something blooming right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, mate. There's just... people just like to moan all the time. It's the same people who are saying, "Oh, God, can't Roger Federer retire? He's been stinking the place up for 20 years. And you're like, can't you just enjoy the fact that you're probably watching the greatest tennis player of all time? Or like the people that complain that Michael Schumacher just didn't stop winning. You're like, just enjoy it.
I know, mate. And actually, it got worse, unfortunately. But it was only one person. But there was a video doing the rounds of Ashley Young swinging in the free kick that rebounded off to Greenwood and allowed him to do that little swivel and bury into the internet. And as he was running up, there was a racist comment made directed at Ashley Young from the stands. We don't know if it's a United fan or a neutral or an Inter fan. We don't know. The presumption is it's a United fan. Again, mate, it's just stupid, isn't it? If it was a United fan, he was probably singing Bisaka, Bisaka a few minutes earlier.
Yeah.
So if someone's playing well, don't be racist. If you don't think they're good enough, be racist. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Mental, right?
It's the same as after that game that you got just torrents of abuse from people who had Marcus Rashford as their profile picture on Twitter. And I'm talking racist abuse from people who... You know what, mate? It's just a real shame, and I'd prefer just to move on and not even give it the time that they don't deserve.
And like we said earlier when we were having a chat, it's one person.
Yeah,
it's one person saying that. And look, if you took an audio recorder to every United game and every football game, You know, there's plenty of idiots who say all kinds of things.
Oh.
And if everything got reported to the press, dear me, the world would have a different view on the match-going supporters of every team. So, look, yeah, let's park that where it belongs, mate.
It's like you said to me earlier. I mean, if we had video phones and video recorders back in the 90s or back in the late 80s,
Dear me.
I mean, football would have been closed down, mate.
Oh, dear me, it would.
It would have been
100%.
outlawed. Yeah.
It would indeed. Another thing, just to mention, Anthony Martial. Look, he seems to be playing number 9. Seems to be enjoying pressing a little bit more. Uses pace a little bit more. I think with Martial, when he's pressing, it kind of keeps him involved, keeps his brain switched on by the looks of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think it benefits him.
Yeah.
And he seems to be changing a little bit.
Yeah.
I think from what it looks like, we've gone a bit cold on signing another striker. It looks like Lukaku will go.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Rasha, we've got Martial,
Mason Greenwood,
we've got
mate.
Mason Greenwood.
Yeah.
It looks like we're swaying towards buying a playmaker now
Mm-hmm.
and pushing those boys forward, which I'm happy with. You know, look, if Martial can hit the heights again, we've got a player, like I said before, we've got a real player there. It's just a matter of unlocking that complicated brain of his.
Yeah, and you know, I really did like how him and Rashford were sort of interchanging positions. It seemed every 5-10 minutes, you know, one would go out on the left and one would play through the middle.
Yeah.
And I really think that that's going to confuse opposition defences, right? That when you're sort of always trying to keep an eye on one of them and then they keep switching over, it has the ingredients to really complicate everything for them.
Yeah, and another person I want to mention, actually, is Tahith Chong. Again, I thought he was brilliant again.
He really
Absolutely
was.
brilliant. Oh, I love this guy. I really do. I think he's a fantastic player. Could have had another penalty. He got fouled quite a bit, didn't he? It was 2 bookings against him.
Yeah.
He's again got the ability to cut back so quickly that he either beats the man or wins a foul pretty much every time.
Yeah, we sort of got to be happy with the ferocity of these quote-unquote friendlies, right?
Yes, definitely.
No one's telling anyone that these are meaningless games. There were tackles flying in, and it was really quite a testy affair.
Yes, mate. And look, Steve Chong, I think, is really showing some good signs. And when you threw in the name of Pepe, for instance, I'm thinking, let's give Chongy a chance. You know, I've started with the Chongy stuff now as well. I really do.
I think exactly the same.
I really do.
And as I was saying with Mason, I think Tahith Chong would be given a better chance to shine than anyone that we could possibly bring in for 50, 60, 70 million. You know, who knows?
I like him a lot. And one more guy we've got to mention, Scott McTominay.
Yeah.
He's just becoming sort of the voice of the fans, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's grabbed the mantle of being sort of the United boy, and he seems to be growing into that sort of role, and he's taking it on. I love it.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by not only what he does on the pitch, but what he does off the pitch. That one picture of him at Huddersfield last season after we had drawn and pretty much out of the running, and he was just pretty unconsolable sitting there over there on the bench. He really does echo what a lot of real United fans think and feel.
He's like sort of like a happy, less morbid Darren Fletcher, isn't he?
yeah. You know, Darren Fletcher was a fantastic Red. He went through years of abuse.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And then for a few years, he was absolutely undroppable. You know, I remember he had a few big games against Arsenal, against Chelsea. But for years, you know, everyone was giving him God knows how much abuse, and it was completely unwarranted. It's because that they wanted all these bigger, more attractive names in there instead of just this young boy from Scotland. But then they realised that he gave absolutely everything for the team, that we loved him more and more.
I'd still love to go back in time, mate, and see what would have happened in that 2009 final in Rome if Fletcher hadn't got that horrible red card at Arsenal in the sort of last minute.
Yeah, it wasn't even.
It was mental, but I'd still love to see, because in that season, if people don't remember, Fletcher was one of our very, very, very best players. He was absolutely brilliant. He really was. He was the glue to that midfield. And I don't think we would have got swept away by that carousel as savagely as we did if Darren Fletcher was playing personally.
No, Barcelona certainly wouldn't have been given the time that they were allowed in midfield if Darren Fletcher was around. Smash up Fletcher, we used to call him. Yeah.
But yeah, Scott McTominay, I'm loving it, absolutely loving his attitude, and I really hope he cracks on with this, because we need characters like that in the dressing room, but we also need them to be performing on the field at the sort of same level. And at the moment he is, so good luck to him. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and Axel Tuanzebe was pretty good as well. Didn't really put a foot wrong either, did he?
He's brilliant again. Really, really good.
Yeah. And
of course, playing against the higher level opposition. Ollie said he didn't play against Leeds because he knew he can handle Leeds. But Inter Milan, massive step up. He looked at home, didn't he?
He really did. He looks very composed. He looks years ahead of his time, mate.
Yeah. So we go on to China now, mate, for a match against Tottenham, as we mentioned. Spurs coming off a 3-2 win against Juve. Harry Kane with a halfway line, or just about halfway line, goal in the last minute against Szczesny.
Yeah, I mean, it was against Szczesny, right? Like,
It doesn't count, does it? But that will be another test, won't it? It'll be another test. Spurs have had a bit more pre-season like we have. And Ndombele played for them, looked quite good as well, unfortunately. Looks like they might get Giovanni Lo Celso pretty soon as well. Betis signed Fekir, so that's opening up a bit of space for Spurs to swoop in for Lo Celso. What do you reckon, mate? It's going to be a test, isn't it?
Should be. Should really be. And we're sort of beyond the point of just playing different teams each half. The first team got 60 minutes against Inter. I think it'll pretty much be the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. You know, a few years ago, we played some Premiership teams in pre-season and didn't have the best of time. I think we got battered 4-1 against Liverpool, was it? And it sort of put a bit of a dampener on the start of our season.
Yes.
And I think that if we can manage to go, you know, on Thursday morning for me at least, and do some sort of business, then it could really put us on a good foot to start the season, mate.
Yeah, and we'll be looking to make a nice impression in China. The state media have come out today and slammed Manchester City, haven't they? They said that the City have come over and disrespected the country. They've acted arrogantly, and they obviously came just to cash in and make some money out of the country. So they said Wolves were exemplary, and Newcastle, despite having their internal problems, were exemplary too, and City were not. So it's a chance for us to go there and steal a few hearts as well, mate.
Yeah, it's not news for me that City are a bunch of clowns, mate. You don't have to tell me that.
Yes, mate. Some really good news today, mate. One of our old heroes, Nicky Butt, in a class of 92, has been promoted to the head of first team development. He'll report directly to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So he's no longer the academy manager. Nick Cox will take the academy manager role from the head of operations of the academy. So this looks like what we're doing is we're creating a direct bridge from the academy to the first team. Look at all these boys, these academy boys coming through now. That's Nicky Butt's work. So I'm very happy with this appointment. Mm-hmm. He keeps his mouth shut. He gets on with his job. He's been a really good servant to the club as a player, as a coach, and now in this very important role too, mate.
Yeah, you know, we say it year after year that we have some real gems in the academy that, just given the right opportunity, like Marcus Rashford was allowed the opportunity a few years ago when there were a few injuries, they'll be able to shine. And I think he was an example that we haven't really followed, and we maybe do need a bit of a bridge between the academy and the first team in order to smooth the transition for some of these players.
Yeah, I think it's a good move, mate. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Very happy indeed. And so listen, mate, the transfer window slams shut in 17 days. Okay. 5 o'clock on Thursday the 8th, it will slam shut. We're doing a special show that night too. So we'll have a show ready for the Friday morning for everyone in the UK. Look, it's getting to crunch time, mate. Squeaky bum time. We've got to make some signings. We've got to make them pretty sharpish. Harry Maguire still creeping along. It looks like we just have to pay the extra cash, mate, and he's ours. We've seen the effect Wan-Bissaka's had. We've seen the effect Daniel James has had. Let's get him in now. Come on.
Yeah, we've been saying this for weeks now.
I
know we're back in England in a few days before we go to Norway for the day for a friendly, so I think we might just be waiting to completely finalise it until we're back in England, mate.
I hope so, mate, because as I say, look, we're less than 3 weeks now, and you never know what will happen. You never know which bumps in the road will occur, and when you haven't got time on your side, you don't want to be getting those bumps with the 2 or 3 days to go. So it's becoming very, very important now, mate. We have to get this over the line. We need a new centre-back. We've said it again and again. And he's there. He's available if we buy him. And of course, Vichai, the old Leicester owner, God bless his soul, promised Maguire that he could leave if the right offer came in this summer. So that does play into our favour too.
Yeah, we just need to get this over the line, because another thing that happens when the closer and closer it gets is the more money they'll be able to squeeze out of us, right? So
100%.
Before you know it, 80 million, which is already a lot of money, right? Whenever you think of 80 million, it's the amount that we got for Ronaldo. I know it was 10 years ago, but still. But if it comes to 2, 3, 4 days before the window slams shut, you can just imagine the price going up and up, and we don't have anything we can really do to it because we haven't done our due diligence the last few weeks.
Yeah, and it is a lot, but we would have said it's a lot to sign Van Dijk for £75 million as well.
Mate,
and now it's looking like a bargain.
Yeah, today is 17 days to the day since we signed Rio Ferdinand for 30 million, and back then 30 million was astronomical for a defender. So
you know, if that was nowadays, that would be the most expensive transfer. So with inflation,
Oh, he'd be over 100 million.
no, I saw it the other day. I think
Yeah.
it was 240 or something like that. I think it was something absolutely ridiculous with inflation. But mate, those were in the days where we had such a larger amount of power compared to the rest of the teams in the Premier League that we could just pick off who we wanted.
Yeah.
And this is the real shame that the Glazers came in when they did, because if we had used our power for that extra decade of cleaning out the other teams and strengthening our squad, we'd be over the hills and far away by now.
Yeah,
mate.
like Bayern Munich.
We would be Bayern and
Juventus
and the big teams in Spain would just be so separated from the rest of the league. But unfortunately, we were so good, we had such power that the Glazers could siphon off the cash, and still we were successful until Fergie went and the bottom fell out of everything. And now we're in a position where we have to repair. But that's the sad thing from it all. But mate, yeah, you're right. We need to splash the cash. The Bruno Fernandes situation has become a bit more clear today. The Sporting Lisbon president Frederico Fernandes has said that for £56 million he won't let him go. So he said there's a few clubs interested. There might be many. So to me, that seems like we have to sort of go to if he's saying 56, definitely not, then you're thinking maybe 65, 70 then for Bruno.
Yeah, another one. Let's just get it over the line. I'm not sure if we're waiting for a possible injection of cash from selling Paul Pogba or anything like that, or we're just waiting to come back from being on the complete opposite end of the world and giving him the opportunity to link up the squad immediately.
Yeah, well, we're coming back, and then Bruno Fernandes has now gone out to America with Sporting. They play Liverpool at Yankee Stadium on Thursday. I don't like the smell of that at all, mate. We've got Bruno Fernandes going to play against one of our rivals who could do with a player like Bruno Fernandes.
Yep.
And just like Ronaldo for Sporting Lisbon had an absolute blinder against us, and we said, right, okay, there's your 12.5 million. And Ronaldo's coming home with us, basically.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to tempt fate here.
No, you're right. Not. You're right.
But it's a risky game we're playing.
Especially with their owners watching on from such a short distance, right?
Well, exactly, yeah.
They could just be the one, be like, we'll go even over Klopp's head and sign him, because this is the kind of player that we want.
Exactly, and I'm sure Klopp wouldn't be complaining.
For once.
Yeah. Another rumour that's popped back up today is Paulo Dybala. They say that Ollie's very, very keen on Dybala. He loves him as a player. For 70 to 90 million pounds, Juve would accept. Always makes me laugh when they give a bracket. When they say Juve would accept between 70 and 90 million pounds. Well, we're offer 70 then.
Yeah, then why would you offer 90?
It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, what are you talking about?
Well, we offered 75. He got rejected because they want 90. So, why would you give a bracket?
But it is if Lukaku or Pogba exits. And this loops back to my point earlier where I said that maybe we'll get rid of Lukaku, grab in a playmaker and push Rashford, Martial and Greenwood. What do you reckon?
I would swap Lukaku for Dybala tomorrow. If it's player for player, maybe a little bit of cash as well. Yeah, I would jump all over that.
And in a 4-2-3-1, yes please, Paulo Dybala.
Just because Mason Greenwood's showing us that he's the new Romelu Lukaku, right? Left-footed forward who can come in from the right. And if anything, has a better first touch.
Yeah, and a better right foot too.
And not an enormous amount of pressure on his shoulders every game.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely, mate. So that is one we'll watch. I think that'd be cracking. I wouldn't mind a sort of playmaker now. We've got so much gas. Up there. Someone to just pull the strings a little bit more, especially if Pogba's going to play a little bit withdrawn. We obviously don't know the future of Pogba still. But yeah, I would certainly be keen on that one, mate.
Yeah, I think the further we go, the more Paul Pogba's going to stay, mate. I really do.
So AS in Spain today have said that Real are going to start their assault on Pogba at the start of August. They think they can sign him after the 8th of August, which we don't like the smell of course. That's the news coming from Spain anyway. So they're saying it's not dead.
Let's get the old fax machine out, mate.
Yes. Let's indeed. That was classic. Ivan Rakitic, another one has been linked again. He said he's very proud of the links to Manchester United, which obviously he doesn't need to say. You still cold on that one, bud?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it'll happen. Who knows? I wouldn't mind him, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. Gareth Bale, another one. My old favourite, mate. I've gone cold on him now, and now he's available.
Done.
Looks like he's China bound to me. It's apparently they've offered him to Spurs, they've offered him to United.
They've offered him all around the world, mate.
Yeah.
Can we just take a minute to talk about Zidane's comments about Gareth Bale?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I found them to be absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
If Ole Solskjaer said the same thing, or if any United manager said the same thing about one of the players, saying, I hope he leaves tomorrow. Let's hope tomorrow's his last day and we're working on getting him out the club. I mean, obviously, it's not verbatim, but it's absolutely disgusting how he's been treated. A guy who's scored in 3 different Champions League finals.
Last year he scored an overhead kick to win them the Champions League.
Yeah.
And then he scored another one.
Yeah. It's just shocking to me, mate. It's shocking.
He scored twice the amount of goals Zidane has in just 4 more games for Real.
Yeah.
But he's won way more trophies.
He scored a better goal in the Champions League final than Zidane.
Yeah, it's bonkers, isn't it, mate? Absolutely bonkers. You think about how we laud and love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for that. Well, not just for that moment, many, many moments, but that was the moment.
Yeah.
It's just bonkers stuff.
Yeah.
And again, we'll point back to Paul Pogba. Careful what you wish for, mate. Careful what you wish for.
For sure.
But yeah, it looks like he's China bound. Plenty of money, plenty of golf. He'll be happy.
Yep.
Just before we wrap it up, mate, there's a few changes, Premier League rules this season. First one is quite important, is that goal difference will not be the first decider anymore in terms of tied teams. The first decider now will be a head-to-head, like it is in Spain. So in the 2 games you play against your rival, say your rival's top, you're second, it doesn't matter if you scored 100 more goals than them on aggregate. The head-to-head matches are what matters now. What do you think, mate? Do you like that or not?
Yeah, probably. It still wouldn't have saved us back in 2012, would it? But
why'd you have to bring that up?
Sorry. I just thought that 8 years too late to change that law, and then I'm sitting here thinking, while you're saying it, I wouldn't have changed it anyway.
I personally don't like it. The whole point is this season is 38 games, and you judge it over the 38 games. And so, to me, the goals you've scored or conceded over those 38 games is a better sort of measure than if you've beaten your rival. Say, for instance, you beat City 2-0 at their place and they beat you 3-0 at your place. They win the league on that. Is there much difference between those two things? I don't think so, personally.
You're absolutely right. It's more that you judge negatively for having one bad game, right? Instead of judge positively for having 37 good games.
Yeah. And what if half your team's out when you play against that rival?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I don't like it, but just like everything else, a few weeks and I'll forget it was ever different in the past. So I'm sure I'll survive.
Or you'll be saying the opposite, saying, it's a good change. It just depends on whether it's going to work out for you.
For United or not, yeah. The other thing is they've been mentioning VAR and saying that it's not going to be used exactly the same in the Premier League as we've seen it used, certainly in the Women's World Cup and in other tournaments too. They're saying that they will use it more sparingly in the Premier League, try and use it just for the really big decisions. And also, they're going to try and use the VAR rather than the side pitch monitor. So the ref doesn't have to do his lovely sprint across the pitch and check the screen all the time. So for things that are not a judgment call, like a factual call, they'll go upstairs and they'll quickly give them a decision. And for massive, massive decisions, the ref will do his little sprint across the field and judge it himself. What do you think, pal? They're trying not to make too many stops and starts.
I can definitely agree with that. I think that right now it does definitely cut the game up a little bit. I just hope that regardless of whether he makes the call himself or if the call is coming down through his earpiece, it's just made quickly. Because some of these decisions are made within 4 or 5 minutes and it's too long.
Yeah. The thing is when they go upstairs and it's a very, very tight judgment call, then you can watch it 20 times and you don't know exactly which way to give it.
You know what, mate? I think it'll sort of even itself out over the season and we're going to learn how to use it better and let's hope it doesn't just keep breaking up the play.
Can we not just get rid of it totally? Go back to the old days?
No, because there's too many decisions that have gone wrong and I think that now we have the ability to be able to use it. We need to use it. It just needs to be implemented into the game in the best possible way.
Yeah, I knew when they were feeding us the goal line technology, I knew they were blooming aiming for this. And goal line technology I think is fine. I think that's great. It's great to see ball over the line, ball not over the line. Over the line, great. Not over the line, fantastic. Let's move on. With these decisions, I don't think it's necessary personally, but things move on, things change, and we'll get used to it. Of course, Old Trafford and Anfield are the only grounds that don't have a big screen, so it will be a little bit of a different experience for us. Everywhere else, they will show what's going on. In Anfield and Old Trafford, they'll announce it on the tannoy. But it tells a story, doesn't it, that the two most successful clubs in English football don't have a big screen. I think it's quite nice.
I think it is also a matter of time before the coaches get a challenge, that the managers are able to challenge these calls and to get calls further reviewed.
I think you've been in America too long, mate.
I'm telling you, it's just going to happen, mate. We're a few years away from it.
Great stuff, mate. Well, thanks for joining us again, Reds. It's been great to see our listener numbers going up every week. Remember to subscribe on your favourite platform if you haven't already. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, loads more podcast apps too. If you're enjoying the show, let your fellow United fans know about the 100% United pod. We'll be back after the Spurs game. Thanks for joining me again, Scott.
Thank you, pal.
Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.